Hello, this is Wolfgang of MEVAS Machinery Evaluation. Today I want to explain you the difference between a TA1 and a TA2. You might have heard about those expressions when it comes to inspection of heavy equipment, and I would like to explain what it is. So basically it's a term of Caterpillar used for the inspection of CAD machines, and TA means technical analysis. So the standards Caterpillar has set for technical analysis are the following. We have what we call the TA1. That means it is an inspection in level 1. So the inspector of a machine checks the fluid levels, color and condition of any fluids, oils, coolants, and so on. He's checking the machine for leaks and is checking the seals. He would walk around the machine and look for structural damage if any of the hydraulic cylinders, boom, stick, undercarriage, chassis are damaged. He would run the machine and check for the noises and for the smoke to get an idea about the engine condition. Then he would check for missing or broken parts. Depending on Caterpillar dealership, the inspector would take photos or not. So what is an inspection in Caterpillar level TA2? The difference is, or let me put it that way, in addition to the TA1, the TA2 of Caterpillar would include the pressure checks. The inspector would take cycle times. He would check if any cylinder has a drift. That means if cylinders are holding the position or not. Cylinder drift would mean there is an internal leak. Then Caterpillar is saying they check the back to factory standards. That means an inspector would check, or a mechanic would check, if the machine meets the factory standards and would try to set it back to those standards. He would make a fault code download. It is also called PSR, Product Status Report. And then we have SOS, which means oil sampling services. The inspector can take oil samplings to check the condition of the oils and to get an idea about internal wear on machine components. So basically, the TA1 is just a walk-around inspection, checking if visually can any problem be detected, and there is just a noise check and a smoke check included. So what could be the problem with the TA1 and TA2 level inspections? The problem might be a TA1 is in most cases not sufficient, because you can check that way a rental return machine. But if you expect to see the condition if you want to buy a used machine, a TA1 is probably not sufficient. If you call your Caterpillar dealer to do a TA2 inspection for you, another problem occurs. First thing is the price, because the inspection in level TA2 is so time consuming that it raises the sum raises up to 2,000 or 3,000 euro for one machine inspection. And then as an output, you would get so many values that you don't need or you can't understand. So what we have done at MEVAS is we created something between, and we call it a TA1 Plus. So our standard is a TA1 Plus inspection. As with the CAT TA1, we check the fluid and filter condition. We check for leaks, cylinder damage, hose condition, cylinder drift. This is more or less the same what the Caterpillar inspector would do. We check for structural damage. When it comes to the engine, we don't check only the noise and the smoke. We also estimate the blow-by of the engine. In addition to a TA1, our inspectors do an operational test. Most of our inspectors are trained and used to operate machines, to understand the real condition. And it is important to do a functional test for the play localization, to see if you have in any points where mechanical movement is, a play, stick, bucket pins, and so on. And we do the same for the swing bearing of an excavator, because it's a very expensive item. So also this is not included in a Caterpillar TA1. The fault code download is something we offer as well. It's the PSR, and I will show you then the tools we use for it. In addition to a TA1, our inspectors estimate or measure the undercarriage of a machine, and we measure the tires on large machines. First, inspectors do many pictures and on request a video. In our report, we give a repair recommendation and a general comment about the machine condition. If someone wants to have a deeper investigation of the machine condition, we offer optional services. The SOS, oil sampling service, is an optional service. We can take do the pressure testing. We can take cycle times. We can measure the blow-by, and in worst case we can even cut filters to look to the internal. So let me show you the tools we are using for those MEVAS TA1 inspections. This is a Caterpillar communication adapter with the appropriate cables. We use it for the fault code download. It is called product status report, and with the product status report we can learn a couple of things from the machine history, and most important, we can verify if the working hours are true. If required, the inspectors can use an ionometer to measure the blow-by of an engine. When it comes to undercarriage, we have the tools to measure undercarriage. On small machines like an excavator of this size, we usually do an estimation, and over the years the inspectors gained a lot of experience, so we can tell just from touching the bushing we can estimate, does it have 80 or 60 or 40% remaining life. We have a gauge to measure the swing bearing play. Okay, let's come to oil sampling. We use some tools like this, and the inspector can take on request engine oil, hydraulic oil, transmission oil, whatever the customer requires. And since we are in Germany and we have a very good experience with the lab of Zeppelin, we use the laboratory of Zeppelin for our oil samplings. Last but not least, we have the tools for pressure testing. Most machines have sockets available where you can plug in the gauge and take the main pump pressure and the pilot pressures, or any other pressure that the customer requires. Those pressures can be compared with the factory specs, and someone who understands machines can estimate if the pump and the hydraulic system is in good working order, or if there is an adjustment required.